welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing our watch of Columbo with Season 1, Episode 2, Death Lends a Hand. It is hot as heck in this room today. In here it feels like 80, so I am sweating like it's going out of style. So if I'm obnoxiously chugging this the entire time, I am so sorry in advance, but it is one of those days. If you're joining me for the first time, welcome. Happy to have you here. If you are already a Columbo fan, please join in my fangirling over this show. I love it so much. It's got to be one of my most favorite things I've probably ever watched in my entire life. And if you haven't seen Columbo and you're stumbling upon this video for the first time, welcome. Go back and check out my other Columbo reaction videos if you're interested. I discovered this show for the first time in January, or at least I should say I started committing to watching the show in January. I had heard of it before, but I had never sat down and given it an actual commitment. So I started recording reaction videos, end of season 4, early season 5, and then I was like, I should just go back and start doing reaction videos from the beginning. So yeah, let's dive right into Death Lends a Hand. Okay, so season 1, episode 2, Death Lends a Hand. It premiered October 5th, 1971. And the description is, Columbo investigates the case of an unfaithful wife who was murdered when she refused to be blackmailed. All right, let's go ahead and watch Death Lends a Hand. Show off. It reminds me of...
It's as crooked as a dog's hind leg.
That's a weird saying.
This afternoon.
3 more units added to security a coastal aircraft. No progress on the Fairfax insurance investigation. We're working with their accountants on the audit.
That is the same office from Ransom for a Dead Man, is it not? They reused a lot of the same sets in this show. A lot of the same locations, a lot of the same homes. They just redecorated them ever so slightly. Also, sweet glasses, Robert Culp.
My name is Arthur Kennicott. Mr. Brimmer's expecting me.
Oh, yes, sir. Would you go right in, please?
Thank you.
That guy was also in multiple episodes, wasn't he?
Oh, Mr. Kennicott. You're right on time. Mr. Kennicott, you have nothing to worry about. It's a clean bill of health.
You sure?
Well, I'm not in the habit of making mistakes.
Yes, I'm sorry, of course. I don't know which I feel most. Relief or anger?
He had his wife trailed?
Not myself. My idiotic suspicions. But I suppose when one marries a much younger woman, one tends to become a little paranoid.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes there's good cause.
Tailing his wife.
In this case, not. Well, it's a pleasure to set your mind at rest, sir.
Thank you. And you'll have my check in the morning.
That's very kind of you. Could you hear everything?
Yes.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Confused.
Well, I don't know why you asked me to come here.
I forgot she was in the other room.
No, not really.
In point of fact, you were having an affair. The man's name was Archer.
It's over, Mr. Brimmer. It was a mistake. A stupid mistake. But I ended it. And it won't ever happen again.
Infidelities, domestic deceit.
Then you're not going to tell him.
I haven't, and I won't.
Thank you.
She looks like she's wearing a massive drape.
Thank you, Mr. Brimmer.
Don't thank him yet, sweetheart.
Mrs. Kennicott, a detective agency runs on information. That's our raw material. Your husband owns 3 newspapers, 2 on this coast and 1 on the east.
I still don't understand how
Information, Mrs. Kennicott.
You want me to be a pipeline to my husband?
Is it really asking so much?
Nothing's
Mrs.
free in this world, lady.
I can't do this kind of work alone.
This show, sometimes it's so caught right between the 60s and the 70s. Like, some things feel so distinctively 60s, but then you can also see it's pushing itself out of the 60s.
Your terrace door was unlocked.
Well, there's no car in the front.
Oh, I thought you knew everything, Mr. Brimmer. My husband and I have a weekend house about 3 miles from here.
Don't tell him that.
Ironic, isn't it? Tell me something, Mr. Brimmer. How many other rich men's wives owe you favors? Do they all capitulate easily?
I'm waiting for your answer.
The answer is no. If you want a spy, you find someone else.
I'll have to call your husband in the morning and...
And what?
It's amazing how
Tell him I have an
natural
affair?
this conversation feels.
Sorry, it won't work.
I feel like if this was
I'm going to
acted
tell him
nowadays,
myself.
it would feel so hammy. My point being is
It's
this
what
feels
I
like they're
think
actually
is
having a
important.
conversation. It doesn't feel like they're reading lines off a script, and I think a
Maybe
lot
he'll
of
ask for a divorce.
actors feel like that today, to me
Maybe he'll forgive
personally.
me. But you can't threaten me anymore, can you? You just lost your leverage.
Stop baiting him,
and
lady.
one other thing. I'm also going to tell him about the way you run your business. Now, if you'll please excuse me.
I cannot permit you to do that.
No!
Definitely forgot about the way this was shot. Oh, I forgot about this. This is where they zoom in on his glasses and show what happened for like 10 minutes. I forgot about that. It's a cool artistic choice though, the way they shot that. Here we go, the 10-minute camera shot. This here is a cool idea. I just think it goes on for way too long. I'm not kidding. I actually might go back and time how long this entire scene takes. I love the idea. It's super cool. It just takes forever. It's so 60s. I love that effect that they do with the headlights. Very cool. Also, is it just me or were cars just way cooler in the 60s and 70s? They just had more personality to them. And then, like, our cars nowadays just feel so bland? Maybe that's a weird, nitpicky thing to say on cars, but I feel like cars of the 60s and 70s, even the 50s, just had more personality and style to them. Wow, that's really crappy, dude. And honestly, probably one of the more graphic portrayals of death on the show. Hello! I remember this theme. He's just cruising. Let him have a good time.
Turn signal, right?
The right one.
You know, it's the second time I got stopped today.
You'll get him fixed now.
I would, but I'm on my way to a 187 PC.
Say, are you a cop?
Lieutenant, Columbo.
Well, I'm sorry, Lieutenant. I flagged you down.
Oh, that's all right. You're just doing your job.
This license expires next week.
Oh. Oh, well, thanks.
Say I better give you an escort. That way you'll get where you want to go.
Appreciate that.
That was like the most polite interaction of all time. Speaking of cars having personality, Columbo's car has so much personality. It says everything you need to know about the character. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it,
but I don't think she was killed here.
I'm pretty sure this is the first Columbo episode I ever watched.
Probably a severe concussion.
Lieutenant, you got that?
I'll know more about this after the autopsy, plus the approximate
yeah.
time of death.
Got a match?
No tire tracks.
Yeah,
Got a match?
this was the first Columbo episode I saw. Or at least the first one I watched all the way through. Yes, it is, because I took a picture from this scene, and I posted it on my Instagram story, and a bunch of people swiped up, and they were like, oh my gosh, you're gonna love it! And I did, and the rest is history.
Thought I told you to move that
Oh, now I'm feeling nostalgic for this episode.
The lady has a bruise on the left cheek.
We know that. I knew you weren't listening.
Aw.
It's Lenore. I want to get out of here.
Oh, that was sad.
Oh, thank you, Lieutenant.
Would you like to be alone for a few moments?
No. I can feel sorry for myself some other time. Well, should we get down to business?
Are you sure there's nothing else you want?
As the husband, I'm the most likely suspect, correct?
Columbo is so empathetic.
You don't have to worry about my feelings, Lieutenant. She was killed
And I
last
love
night.
it.
Well, I was in San Francisco addressing a conference. I didn't fly back until this morning.
Did your wife have any enemies?
Lenore never offended a soul. She was an extraordinary woman.
Except Robert Culp's character.
Lenore was faithful to me in every way. She had a clean bill of health.
failing bill of health.
She was also very fond of skin diving.
Did she do this with you, sir? Did she do it with friends?
With friends, Lieutenant. Female friends, in case you're wondering.
All right, sir. I think I've got enough to start with.
I want you to understand something. I married a woman young enough to be my daughter. A lot of people were skeptical.
He's like, I don't need to know this.
We even thought of having a child.
Again, he doesn't need to know this.
I want this man caught.
This guy was getting TMI way too quick.
You see, they can't really explain how the body was moved. I think she knew the murderer.
Why? Excuse me.
Yes.
Let him finish.
What are you getting at?
Columbo's hair is so matted in this scene, it's really funny.
It sounds to me like a woman that has a problem.
Lieutenant, I call the city room every half hour to find out what you people are doing. Now you tell me you're having to lead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kennicott. Looks like it's gonna be slow.
He doesn't have
Kennicott? I'm sorry, Mr. Kennicott. That is a lot of red for one room.
Lieutenant Columbo, this is Mr. Brimmer.
How do you do?
Lieutenant?
You two know each other?
Well, Mr. Brimmer's done some work for me.
I see. I see. Some kind of security work, guards for the paper?
Oh, it was a personal matter. I told Arthur on the phone I couldn't imagine you wouldn't accept a helping hand, considering the manpower shortage in your department.
Well, now listen, I said to Mr. Kennicott, I'm grateful for all the help I can get. You know, I suddenly feel very much more optimistic about this whole thing.
He already suspects
Not
him.
based on anything. You know, I'm a superstitious guy. You know, I believe in signs. I believe in palmistry and astrology and all that kind of thing. You don't, I know that.
No, definitely not.
Let me see your hand. You see, Mr. Kennicott, that's your fake line. And it breaks there. But it picks up again, and that's interesting. That's a very good
He's
omen.
looking
Matt?
for a ring, right?
It's a man devoted to his work. Your Apollo line crosses the mound of the moon. You know that's very rare. That's the sign of a man who's destined to attain a very particular kind of distinction. That's a very good sign.
Yeah, he suspects him, dude.
I know you think it's silly. It was very nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Yep.
Large thumb. Low mount of Venus. It means ambition. Purposefulness.
That's a closet, Lieutenant.
I'm sorry.
A lot of people make the same mistake.
Say, that's a terrific looking set of clubs. Do you mind?
Go ahead.
Why does he do this? There's like no reason for him to do this, but I love that he does this.
Are these ladies' clubs?
They will Lenore's.
You didn't say she played golf, did you? You mentioned tennis and skin diving.
That's because she just started. That's an extra set she used to take lessons with.
You mean she didn't take lessons at her own club? She took them someplace else?
Why? Is it important?
It's not important. It's just that I like to get that background information very precise if I can. Is this the right door?
Yes. Well, what was that all about?
That was a good way to end the scene.
Stroke it easy.
Troy and Gabriella in High School Musical 2 vibes. Just kidding. Not during Columbo, Melissa. Jeez. Gosh. Looking at old golf courses reminds me of being a little kid.
Well, I'm Lieutenant Columbo. I'm from the police.
What's the problem?
I'd like to ask you a few questions about Lenore Kennicott. You knew her?
Not very well.
Well, this is your appointment book, isn't it?
Oh, you should know. You've been looking at it.
Well, no offense, I was just killing time, but, you know, now that you mention it, I see that you gave her a lot of lessons. Since you spent a lot of time with her, I was wondering if you could give me some help. Did you ever notice or give a ride to any of the men around?
Look, Lieutenant, I teach them golf, and I play in their tournaments, but I don't get involved in their personal lives.
All right.
It's like,
well, thanks a lot.
gotta try a different tactic
right.
now.
Take it easy. Listen, could you give me a lesson?
What?
No, I'm serious. You know what my trouble is? I work too hard. Never out of the office. I figure this.
Yep.
If I could take up a sport, that'd do me some good.
Wasn't Peter Falk actually a really good golfer in real life? I think he was.
I'll take off my coat. You know, every time you had an appointment with Mrs. Kennicott, it was always the last lesson of the day.
I like to finish it.
He finds other situations to put himself and people in to get them to talk. I
So
really
those
like that
left
about his
out.
character.
I thought maybe you'd hang around to see if you could pick up an odd lesson.
Well, I didn't always go home.
Oh, who said anything about going home?
No, well, what I mean is, I didn't always leave the club. Sometimes
Hey, listen, can I help you out? Don't say anything else. You don't have an attorney. Wait until you get an attorney. This way you can hurt your case. Believe me, I know something about my business. And believe me, you know, down through the years, you get so that you develop a nose for things, you see.
Nice.
After a while, the old nose just tells you when someone's not giving you the truth.
Call him out.
Now, I'm gonna forget about the lesson because I can never learn this game.
Makes a perfect shot. I suck at this after I've made a perfect shot. Here's my golf club. And by the way, get an attorney.
The police is not our concern.
That was a great
One thing to
scene.
bear in mind, money was taken. The motive was robbery. She probably fought back. In any case, she was killed. The murderer drove around.
That's also a really cool shot.
Finally, all the way out.
There's a lot of fun camera direction in this one, too. He's still somewhat,
Lieutenant?
reserved in these
Come
early
in.
episodes. Like, not as reserved as in, like, the prescription murder episode, but, like,
What a building.
he's still very much
yours?
himself, but
So-
the interpretation is still, like, a little different from, like, later seasons, you know?
Listen,
Although the mannerisms are, like, they've been on point throughout the entire show, which is
I'd
incredible.
safer if I brought him over
Oh,
myself.
well, that's very nice of you.
You see, Mrs. Kennicott was struck on the left cheek, and she had a bruise, and she had a weird kind of cut. Well, let's start with the cut, because that's what bothered me. I said to myself, now, what
It
in the
bothered
world
me.
could have caused that kind of cut? Does this lighter work?
Yeah, I think so.
ADHD.
Where was I?
About the cut.
Oh, yes. What could have caused the cut? Could be a ring.
You mean a finger ring, this kind of ring?
Yeah, something like that. Now, here's the way I figured it.
Remember how he was palm reading in the earlier scene?
Suppose it was a woman. Now, do you punch her? Well, maybe. But more than likely, you hit with your open hand. Either this way or this way. Now, if you hit this way, then the ring is not going to cause any cut. So I figured it was a backhand blow like this.
Well, I still don't follow you too well because that would put it over.
But I use my right hand.
Yeah.
And if the ring was on the right hand,
Mine is my right. Well, yeah.
it was on the right cheek.
But it was on the left cheek, so the murderer was left-handed. Struck her like this, which means the murderer is left-handed. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I would say that we have a left-handed murderer and
A left-handed
an
murderer.
unpremeditated crime. You know, maybe you didn't mean to do it. Could be.
Man, he's already
You know,
got him
maybe it was an
cornered.
accident. You know, I got a feeling that when we find our friend, it's going to turn out that he has a terrible temper.
He has this in
You're
the
right.
bag and he knows it.
I certainly wish I had your crystal ball, Lieutenant.
He's like, don't you?
Let's see, I had a receipt here that I wanted you to sign. Well, listen, let's just make one up. It's a receipt for the files.
Oh.
What a coincidence.
What's that?
Here a moment ago, we were talking about left-handed people,
Yep.
and you're left-handed.
I love him so much.
And right-handed. I'm ambidextrous. That means I don't favor either hand particularly. It's a character trait shared by about 10% of the world's population. Anything else?
I love this character. I love Columbo so much. Oh my goodness.
You're a very observant man, Lieutenant.
That's not what my wife says, Say, have you ever been to Mr. Kennicott's house?
Yes, I met you there.
No, I didn't mean the big house. I meant out at the beach. I was just wondering because your beach
Robert
house
Culp
and
is
his
given a
beach house,
golden
they're pretty close.
performance.
No. It's a couple of miles.
That close. Isn't that a coincidence? I'll tell you, this case is just full of them.
He's like, sweet orange jacket, dude. It's a very interesting getup. Lime green, orange jacket, dark green pants. Could not be more of a staple of the 70s. He reacted way too calmly to that.
Why don't you and I take a walk?
That theme is so good.
And you did have an affair with her.
Turning on the ladies is about the only thing I do well. I'm not a very good golfer.
Yeah, go on.
Well, it was
I'm not
good
a
for a while.
very good
Just for
golfer.
me.
What was that line?
One day she said, "Ken, this is bad for both of us. Let's call it off." So we did. Then I got to thinking, sooner or later you guys would find out about me. I was home watching the Tube.
The Tube.
No calls, no company, no alibi. That's why I started to run.
You didn't kill her.
I know that, but this afternoon you gave me the impression.
No, you're in the clear. You got nothing to worry about. You see, whoever did this, he had to wear a ring.
Well, I could have taken it off.
No, not with that tan, because that would show.
I'm sure we were being followed.
By who?
Well, there was this one guy in particular. Sharp, well-dressed. I only caught him in flashes, but an ex-Marine type.
Did you overhear anything?
No, sir.
Is he tailing
Maintain
Columbo?
the surveillance. You can report to me in the morning.
Yes, sir.
Well, I've got a little something I want you to do for me. It may complicate your life a little bit.
When?
Immediately. Set it up through my secretary.
Yes, sir. Every one of our operatives is a skilled marksman. Actually, our policy is to avoid the use of the weapon. This is our memory bank, Lieutenant.
We're all skilled marksmen.
Bits of information.
Actually, our policy is to avoid the use of the weapon.
Immediately. We here at Brimmer Associates use the most up-to-date equipment, years ahead of what you use at police headquarters. Company cars, custom designed for us. Most of them with telephonic or radio communication. Oh, just one moment, Lieutenant. One other thing that might interest you. If you just move past this gate.
It's not working.
Well, it has to be. You're carrying a gun, aren't you, Lieutenant?
No.
No. Oh. Well, that explains the malfunction. Now, if you had a gun, it would have registered.
It's just like out at the airport.
It's a security precaution. Not that we expect our clients to be carrying concealed weapons, but, well, there have been a few exceptions.
Really?
Well, a guy came in here
His
just
sales
about a month
pitch
ago.
on
Harmless looking.
Brimmer
An accountant from
Associates.
Mid-Century Oil.
Mr. Denning? I asked you to show the lieutenant around. I did not suggest that you discuss our confidential matters with anyone at any time. Our clients pay us to be discreet. Would you come in, Lieutenant?
lost his temper. In front of Columbo, no less.
Sorry about the outburst, but my people have got to learn. I can't have them gossiping about the clients.
It seems as though Mrs. Kennicott, she was having an affair. Not only were they having an affair, but it seems as though they were being watched. Suppose Mr. Kennicott hired somebody to check up on his wife. And this somebody lied to him. He said to Mr. Kennicott, look, your wife, she's got clean bill of health. Now this somebody, whoever it is, he's in a perfect position to blackmail Mrs. Kennicott. Now suppose she refuses. She says, no, I'm going to go tell my husband. I think it's a terrific motive, don't you?
Calls him out while eating food with him.
Marvelously convoluted mind. The trouble with your theory is it not only is it very tenuous, it's impossible to prove, isn't it?
Yeah. Got a little tomato.
That was a funny little
Well, I
touch.
said it was nutty. What do you think? You think I ought to drop it?
If you believe in it, stick to it. Run it on down. One other thing you should keep in mind, nothing at all to do with the case.
What's that?
I'd like you to work for Brimmer Associates.
Me?
That's why I had you taken on a VIP tour. We're a growing organization, you can see that. It'd be a valuable piece of manpower for us.
I forgot about this too.
You really know how to toss a curve.
No, I don't mean it that way. I'm quite serious. You're a good man, Columbo. Up here. It's time you were thinking about advancement. If you come with us, I'm almost positive I can triple.
He's trying to
your year.
buy him out.
What? I tell you, it's all so sudden. Let me talk it over with my wife.
Of course, talk it over with your wife.
Yes, I'm going to give it all a lot of thought.
That's as much as I can ask. Lieutenant, to the knock of opportunity.
Hey. Hey, Hey, dry throat for some reason.
Help yourself.
Yeah. Hey, I hope I didn't get any into trouble before. I mean, I'm sorry about what happened.
I'm used to it.
What? Was he blow up a lot of steam?
Well, let's just say our founding father is quite a temper.
No kidding. That's funny because it looks to me like he's a guy that's always under control.
Correction, he's under control most of the time.
I'll tell you why I'm interested. Offered me a job.
Oh? Yeah. Well, welcome to the family.
My problem. I don't know how much to ask for.
No, whatever you can get. Top man can pull down about 30,000.
I always wonder how this money translates today if you adjust for inflation.
Leo Gentry. He's the boy who gets the cream of the cases.
Hey, I think I know him.
Cream of the
Crew
cases.
cut, ex-Marine type.
Oh, that's Leo. Teacher's pet, at least this month.
Higher? Listen, if you go any higher, you're gonna go right over the top.
Hey, what's going on?
Mrs. Gentry, I want to tell you, you got a terrific kid here. Nothing frightens him. You can't scare this boy.
I said higher.
Higher? All right, listen, you go higher and I'll eat your ice cream, all right?
No, I want to eat it.
You want to eat it. All right, here you go. You're coming down. Down there. There you are. Get your ice cream.
Do we know each other?
No, my name is Columbo. I'm a lieutenant. I'm from the police.
My daddy's a private eye.
I know that, Teddy. And he's a very good one. See, I'm working on a case, and I thought maybe he could help me out, but I can't seem to locate him.
He went away.
That's right, Lieutenant. His boss called last night and sent him on a special assignment. He took his passport, so I guess he's overseas somewhere.
Now, listen, maybe you could help me out. Was Leo recently on a case where he was following a woman?
Well, it's possible, but I don't really know.
You never discuss Leo's work?
No, it's a household rule. I mean, I'm not very much at keeping secrets. If Leo were to tell me anything, it'd be all over the laundromat. If you have any questions, you better ask Leo.
It's kind of hard to ask him because I can't locate him.
But why don't you talk to his boss, Mr. Brimmer? He can tell you what Leo's working on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, thanks. I have the feeling he won't be too much help, but at any rate, I'm sorry I bothered you. Bye-bye, Ted.
E-O?
Perfect vision.
Well, it should be. This is a new
Here's
prescription.
your temporary. You should have your license in a few weeks.
Thank you very much.
Line
Did that
down.
lady say that she just got a new pair of glasses?
What?
She wasn't wearing glasses.
Of course she was.
Excuse me. And all of a sudden, I remembered this picture. See, she's wearing glasses. But there were no glasses on the body. How could she have dropped them somewhere?
I'm sorry, Lieutenant, but you're on the wrong track. Well, shortly after that picture was taken, Lenore gave up wearing
That was a really keen detail. I didn't even catch on to that. Wow.
Is this her lens case?
Yes. Well, she was probably wearing them when she died.
Mr. Kennicott, I'm going to ask your permission for something. This is the world's biggest long shot. It's going to be painful for you. But I think it's worth a try.
I don't remember how this one finishes. I'm anxious to see how they conclude it, because I don't remember.
They just arrived and they're entering the vault.
Medical examiner's with them.
He says it won't take long.
What's trouble?
I don't know, sir. The battery's okay, but the car won't start.
I'm in a hurry. Get me another car. Have this one serviced. Tell him I want it tomorrow.
The lieutenant's working on a long shot. Apparently, she was wearing her contact lenses when she was killed. Well, there's a chance that she might have lost one of them. Maybe both of them, at the scene of the crime.
You might as well buy a lottery ticket.
Maybe not. Listen to me. Mind that.
Hello, you came out of nowhere.
Half of the time they're falling out. Now, the other morning at breakfast, one of them ended up in the cereal.
Mrs. Kennicott is not your nephew, Lieutenant.
Listen, Mrs. Kennicott was struck forcibly. Now, let's bear that in mind.
Anything's possible.
They're kind of a fun, quirky
The
little
autopsy
team.
report said nothing about
All
any
three of
this
them.
at all.
Listen, forget about
Even
the
though Robert
autopsy
Culp's
report.
playing
I'm checking the
against,
medical examiner. That takes
Columbo.
a look. They
Brimmer.
don't bother to look.
Lieutenant!
Well, I hope it's not a waste.
Move over.
Move over.
Listen, we're in luck. The right contact lens is missing, and it's not in the coffin.
Well, it might have fallen out in the morgue, I guess. Or in the ambulance. Or in the street. She might have lost it before she was killed. Could be 100 places.
Maybe it's at the place where she was murdered.
But we don't know where that place is.
No, sir, we don't. We don't know for sure. But I've got a few hunches.
Keep us posted.
Yes, sir, I will. I'll keep you posted.
There's something about the three of them that's so fun in their dynamic. It's like Mr. Kennicott has like a devil and an angel sitting on his shoulders in the forms of Columbo and Brimmer. It's kind of
I wish
cool.
the murderer knew about this.
Why?
There'd be a piece of conclusive evidence that might be lying around in his premises, and he'd have to find it before we did.
Columbo's staging this. There, yep. Classic. So that is the world's thickest rug of all time. Lo and behold.
Mr. Brimmer, listen, I'm sorry to bother you at this hour, but, and you got the sound of the ocean all the time, huh?
Yeah.
Well, me, I love the beach. I love it. Except when the water gets cold. Then I don't like to go in. Then I like to
Lieutenant,
pool.
did you say you had something on your mind?
Oh, yeah. It's about that job you offered me. I've been giving it a lot of thought. As a matter of fact, I haven't been able to sleep, and, boy, this is a fantastic rug. My wife would love this rug. We gotta get a new rug, and this is just the kind she wants. Fantastic piling, huh? Very soft. Bet you could lose a shoe in here.
You can almost feel
Got a lot of work to do.
Brimmer's
You're talking about
anger.
your job,
And there's so much irony in the fact that his name is Brimmer.
Very happy making a change. I like it where I am. It's not a bad life. No hard feelings.
No, certainly not. I just, well, I think you're making a mistake, that's all.
You know what it was that really made up my mind?
What was that?
The Kennicott case. I don't want to give up working on it just now. Not when I'm so close to a solution.
You gonna let me in on it?
Oh, certainly. You'll be the first to know. Good night.
You know if Columbo says that, you're in trouble.
Good night.
Oh, don't worry. You'll be the first to know. Also, I feel like Brimmer, or maybe it's just Robert Culp's characters in general, feel like he feels like he would actually try to kill Columbo to me. And I only think that there have been a couple killers that have tried to do that throughout the series, right? Only a few have really actually tried to kill him. But I feel like Robert Culp could also easily be on that list as well. He's got a very threatening aura.
Hello? You took my car in to be repaired, didn't you?
Yes, sir, just like you said.
Columbo's plan is working. Slamming on the piano keys. Oh, he found it. Got him. Caught him red-handed. What color are their hands now?
You mind telling us what you're doing?
I'd say that was none of your business, Lieutenant.
It's going to be kind of hard to explain, isn't it? I mean, breaking and entering, that's against the law. Checking the trunk of your car, what in the world were you looking for?
Papers. I thought they were here. It's an emergency.
You were searching the trunk because that's where you hid the body.
Why don't we go downtown and talk it
Am
over?
I under arrest?
I guess you could
On
say
what
so.
evidence?
I think it's going to be more comfortable downtown.
All right. Let's get this farce over with.
Oh, that is a very tiny wood plat.
Grab his arms.
It was an accident, Arthur. It wasn't premeditated. I didn't want to hurt either one of you. How'd you get it?
I got it from the cut on her cheek and your ring. You never should have let me read your palm. Because then I felt the ring and I felt the two diamonds sticking out in that raised rectangular border. That matched up with the cut on her cheek.
You should have taken that job.
You know, we're lucky Lenore lost this.
She didn't lose it.
What?
When I spoke to the medical examiner at the cemetery, he told me that both contact lenses were on the body.
But that's impossible. If it isn't hers, whose was it?
Who knows? It's the fact that it's not the real contact lens, that doesn't count. What does count is Mr. Brimmer's actions. Coming here tonight, trying to get rid of that thing, and doing it all in front of witnesses.
He even staged that. Columbo.
You can set up this trap.
Well, I guess we would have found some other way.
He's so awesome.
You know, in our neighborhood, we had a bunch of jokers. I mean, we were a real wild bunch of guys. And we figured out a perfect way to put a car out of commission. You take a potato, you stick it in the exhaust pipe. It doesn't cause any damage, but the car won't start. It was a terrible thing to do. And I got a feeling that the reason I became a cop was to make up for all those jokes I played when I was a kid.
He put the potato... He put the... Wait, he messed up Brimmer's car? He put the potato in the car? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, what an iconic ending. Oh my gosh. Wow, there was so much about that episode that I didn't remember, but as you guys saw, as I was watching through, I remembered that this was actually the first Columbo episode I actually saw from start to finish. Like I said before, I posted it on my Instagram story and everybody swiped up and they were like, oh my gosh, if you watch this show, you're gonna get addicted. It's amazing. I'm so excited that you started this. But that was the first Columbo episode I ever saw all the way through, and now I'm feeling really nostalgic because I watched that on January 30th of this year, and I'm already feeling super nostalgic about it. Ugh, I still have the pictures on my phone. I took screen caps of me watching it so I could post to Instagram. Oh, that makes me really nostalgic. I have to say my favorite scene is probably the scene where he's talking to the golfer in the shop, and he's like, hey, can you give me a golf lesson? And then halfway through their conversation, the guy starts getting like really flustered and nervous, and Columbo goes, I'm gonna stop you right there. Don't say anything else without an attorney. Get an attorney. Don't say anything else. And then he just leaves right after he hits like this perfect shot. Now let's read a tiny little excerpt from Shooting Columbo. Death Lends a Hand would show for the first time Columbo driving, so Levinson and Link decided to pick out 3 nondescript vehicles and would let Falk make the final decision. The day before filming began, Link took the actor to Universal's massive multi-level prop car lot to show him their recommendations. Nah, Falk said, these are no good. He began walking down the rows past hundreds and hundreds of vehicles of every shape and size. In a back corner, he spotted a stubby gray nose jutting out from behind a larger sedan. The nose belonged to an unkempt 1959 Peugeot 403 Cabriolet. Falk knew it was the right one. Link was incredulous. Peter, he asked, why would a down-to-earth, blue-collar LA homicide cop be driving an exotic thing like that? It'll be fine, Falk replied, and since the decision was minor and time was short, Link let him have his way. He just went, that one. David Koenig details that every episode was allotted 10 days to shoot. Falk considered the schedule merely a suggestion. He usually did not start memorizing the script until he arrived on set that morning, insisting the scene would play fresher. He then required numerous takes until he nailed it, and considering his indecisiveness, that number would raise into the dozens. In each take, he tried out different words, phrasing, and reactions. In fact, Falk changed around almost every line he was given to make it sound more like the real Columbo. Typically, Levinson and Link were hyper-protective of every syllable of their scripts, but they quickly realized that with Falk, no one knew the sound of Columbo better than he did because he had poured so much of himself into the character. Levinson soon advised Bochco to underwrite for him. Peter Falk is Columbo, Levinson instructed. You don't have to write all of that stuff because that's Peter. You don't have to write Peter because Peter's Peter. If you write that stuff and then Peter does that on top of being Peter, it's over the top. That's really, really funny. Yep, that adds up. It's crazy how much detail went into this show, like really fine-tuning it and them really wanting the series to be the highest quality it possibly could. I wish I could read more of this book, Shooting Columbo, to you, but if you're interested and you like behind the scenes of television shows, particularly Columbo, I would recommend Shooting Columbo. What did you guys think of Death Lends a Hand? What stood out to you about this episode? I think Robert Culp is a fantastic killer. It is no wonder him and Jack Cassidy were asked to come back so many times. Fantastic, fantastic actors who brought something different to each of their respective roles in Columbo. Like and subscribe to the channel if you like watching these Columbo episodes with me. Thank you for checking out today's video, and I will see you guys next time where we watch Dead Weight together. See you guys then.